Hey everyone, Brian Elliott with Focused Story Films here, and today I'm going to be talking about The Mandalorian, Season 2, Episode 8, The Rescue, and giving my thoughts on it. Obviously, this is going to be filled with spoilers. There's literally no way to talk about it without spoilers, and this episode is just ripe for spoiler discussion. So, with spoiler warning out of the way, let's get into it. This episode, in many, many ways, was very mind-blowing. From the start, since Boba Fett came back, I have been waiting for the Slave One to use its guns. I love the sound of the laser cannons. That's probably one of my favorite, maybe my favorite sequence from Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, is with the Slave One shooting at Obi-Wan. And I love the sound of those cannons, and I have been waiting to hear those cannons, and we got a lot of that in this episode. A lot of great Slave One action that I was super, super happy to see and really enjoyed. I love that they just started the episode off right with that. Then we moved into an exciting little exchange with the pilots and Dr. Pershing with Cara Dune, and that was really, really interesting. It was interesting that guy was on the Death Star. Apparently people were kind of traveling to and from it quite a bit because he was obviously not on it when it blew up. He definitely got his face blown in, though. That was a great shot. Really enjoyed that. Then we moved to, I'm not sure what planet it was, but to the cantina where we met with Bo-Katan again. And that was a fun little sequence with the Mandalorians facing off against each other, with the Mandalorian Sasha Banks is playing, facing off against Boba Fett. That was a fun little fight. Pretty interesting, kind of cool to see Boba go head-to-head with another Mandalorian. Hopefully we'll get more of that in the future. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed that little exchange. It was tense. You weren't quite sure. You were figuring, yeah, she's probably going to end up going with him eventually, but it was just a really interesting, nice little sequence. And then we moved to discussing the plan and kind of figuring out, okay, what are we going to do? Bo-Katan solely obsessed with finding the Darksaber and defeating Moff Gideon, and Din solely obsessed with getting to Grogu. Then we had a lot of great action, a lot of fun, seeing the Mandalorians once again just completely kick ass, wipe out Stormtrooper after Stormtrooper. This show has definitely solidified that Stormtroopers really, really suck. Especially I feel like this season. Season 1, maybe not quite so much, but this season, Stormtroopers just suck. Or else Din and crew are just way overpowered. Either way, Stormtroopers got mopped. Then we saw Din fight the Dark Trooper, get pretty beaten up, and kill it with the Beskar Spear, confront Moff Gideon. That was a really interesting confrontation, I thought. There was a moment where I was like, is Din actually just gonna get Grogu and let Gideon walk, and that's gonna be something that they have to deal with next season? But obviously then Gideon betrays him. I'm not sure really what Gideon was thinking at that point, with Din completely in Beskar armor. Like, Gideon didn't really have a chance there. And then Din defeated him relatively easily. It was a fantastic fight, but Gideon did go down quite easily. It was like, okay, really, that's it. What else is going to happen? And then they had his and Bo-Katan's confrontation that ended when the Dark Troopers came back, had them pinned down, trapped in the room. It seemed pretty hopeless. And then cue X-Wing. And part of me was like, no, they're not going to do this. They're really not. I'll get into some of my feelings on it a little bit later, but kind of, going through the synopsis. This Jedi comes out of the X-Wing, starts totally kicking ass, taking names, wiping people out. Well, wiping dark troopers out, not people. And then it turns out to be Luke Skywalker. He takes Grogu, and they leave. And then there's a little teaser for what I'm presuming is either a Boba Fett movie or a Boba Fett spin-off television show. I'm not of the opinion that Boba Fett is going to be taking over Mandalorian Season 3. So a lot of what I want to break down is kind of the Luke encounter. That's what everybody wants to talk about. I mean, that was a big, bold move. I honestly did not expect the show to take a character as big as Luke Skywalker and bring them in. I found the CG a little wonky. I think a lot of people did. I think it was fine, though, for the amount that it was used. I really liked that for most of the fighting, he was in the hood. And honestly, I was almost expecting them just to keep him in the hood the entire interaction with Din, because it wouldn't necessarily have seemed weird to Din since he's always wearing his mask. But they decided to go the CG face route rather than recasting, which I'm a little torn on. I really like that Mark Hamill got to come back and that it didn't have a weirdness to it, but it also had the weird uncanny valley. It's kind of like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't with something like that, if you're going to bring that character back at all. But I think it works a lot better than what they did in Solo, casting Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo, because that just seemed really, really odd and was one of the large reasons why I didn't like Solo. Then we get to kind of the exchange. Like, how I thought the exchange was going to go is Luke was going to say, Grogu has to come with me. And Din was going to say no, he doesn't want to. And then Luke was going to realize that Grogu didn't actually want to. But no, that's not how it went down. Luke actually took Grogu. And this was heartbreaking, mind-blowing. I wasn't really sure what to make of it, to be honest. It was just really, really crazy. It's probably, at this point, it's a decision that I'm torn if was this a misstep for the show? Or, what's going on? But everything up to this point that's felt like maybe a little bit of a misstep, like episode 5 of season 1, where it was like, this episode really had nothing to do with the show. Season 2, Fennec came back. That introduction was important. Kind of all these little breadcrumbs, Easter egg things, choices that are made, things that seem like filler, end up not being if you hang on with the show for long enough. So I'm not convinced that this was a misstep. But at the same time, I was definitely heartbroken. My mind has definitely been very messed up about this. It's like, what is going on here, people? Why are you doing this? You're breaking my heart. You're going down a path I can't follow. Because of Obi-Wan? No, because of Grogu. No, anyway, sorry. Total digression. But yeah, no, I really think that Grogu has to come back. But as of this point, definitely a heartbreaking turn of events. A little strange seeing Luke. I will say, though, Luke, when he was in the hood with all the action, taking out the Dark Troopers, amazing. As many, many have pointed out, very reminiscent of the scene in Rogue One where Darth Vader is just taking out rebels left and right. Very, very reminiscent father-son kind of taking people out. So that was very cool to see. That's the Luke that I know a lot of us wanted to see in the sequel trilogy that we didn't end up getting to see, but I'm glad that we got to see that version of Luke. I'm really holding my judgment on if I like the story direction until I see what goes on in season 3, because if Grogu does end up back with Din or somehow still being a large part of the story, I think it's amazing. Very cool episode, a lot of great suspense, a lot of huge moments, incredibly dramatic, definitely got all the feels working. But if Grogu doesn't end up coming back, I'm not sure. We'll have to see again what they do with the show. But at this point, I feel like if Grogu doesn't come back, it's maybe the first misstep that the show has taken in 2 seasons. And I'm talking like a major misstep. Sure, there were some weird acting choices or some makeup that didn't look quite right here and there or different things. But like the first major misstep of the show would be if Grogu does not come back. Because I feel like he is an integral part of the show. And let's not forget, he's a foundling at this point, because the Armorer made him a foundling with Din. He's a clan of 2. So I don't feel like Grogu can disappear. I think he is going to be back. He is a Mandalorian. He's part of the Mandalorians. So that's kind of my thoughts on the episode. Obviously, just about everything is really wrapped up in the Luke of it all, the Grogu of it all. Will he be back? But in terms of how the episode was executed, I thought it was fantastic. It's top tier Mandalorian. I love what Peyton Reed did with it. I love so far the story that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are telling. So I'm very excited for season 3. My mind is finally starting to recover from the 24 hours of being completely screwed up and not sure what was going on, and trying to wrap my head around Luke Skywalker, Grogu going with Luke Skywalker, what's going on with Moff Gideon, what's going on with the Darksaber, what's going on with Bo-Katan, what's happening with this Boba Fett show, everything. They threw so much at us, and I watched some reactions from different people on YouTube, and the very, very common thing that everybody says is, holy cow, there's so much going on. As people are trying to process, and literally everybody, when the episode is done, they don't have words. They're just in shell shock. So that's my thoughts, having had over 24 hours from the episode. I'm planning to do reviews of all the episodes up to this episode, and I may even do another review after having watched everything through again over the next few weeks, seeing really how the show has evolved, talking in more depth. But this is my initial thoughts, initial review after having seen the episode and watched a bunch of different reactors react to it to kind of process what happened. So hope that you guys enjoyed, and I will catch all of you very soon.